BRICS, Africa's call for fair talks, not sacrifice. In the corridors of global economic power, the emergence of BRICS, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, stands as a transformative chapter in the narrative of 21st century geopolitics. Representing a profound shift away from traditional Western dominance, BRICS brings to the table an ambitious agenda of recalibrating the global economic order. Yet, as history unfolds, the continent of Africa finds itself at a decisive juncture, confronting a seminal question: how can Africa, with its extraordinary wealth of natural resources and burgeoning market potential, ensure that it isn't marginalized or exploited within this new paradigm? The implications are vast, given that BRICS nations collectively hold sway over approximately 41% of the world's population and a staggering $18.6 trillion in combined nominal GDP as of 2019. The alliance offers unparalleled opportunities for economic collaboration, yet it also poses perils of perpetuating colonial-era dynamics of resource extraction and inequality. While South Africa's inclusion in BRICS ostensibly brings Africa into this cycle of influence, the reality is that the continent's diverse interests and vulnerabilities cannot be adequately represented by a single nation. As the BRICS alliance builds momentum, Africa must seize the initiative to shift from a passive role to that of an assertive stakeholder. A passive approach would render Africa the sacrificial lamb in a global economic framework that already disproportionately favors developed nations. In contrast, an assertive posture built upon rigorous, transparent negotiations positions Africa to reap equitable benefits from this new world order. The stakes are too high for Africa to be a mere spectator in its destiny, rather than being subordinated as a repository for raw materials or as a pawn in geopolitical maneuverings. Africa must assert its voice, table its demands, and architect its future within the BRICS alliance. Anything less would be a forfeiture of its rightful place on the global economic stage. As we unravel the intricacies of Africa's interactions with BRICS in this article, the imperative becomes clear. Africa must not be the sacrificial lamb, but an empowered partner in the unfolding tapestry of global economic relations. Unraveling the asymmetry and opportunity in BRICS, Africa trade relations. Unpacking trade metrics, an intriguing narrative unfolds. Africa BRICS trade catapulted from a modest $67 billion in 2001 to an outstanding $385 billion in 2019, based on World Bank data. By 2022, total trade is estimated at $414 billion, with China alone accounting for a lion's share at $248 billion, or 59% of the trade volume. Following China, India comes in at $64 billion, that is 15%. Russia at $27 billion, which is 7%. Brazil at $22 billion, averaging 5%. And South Africa at $13 billion, averaging 3%. The asymmetry, however, lies in the trade imbalance. While the trade deficit has contracted from $100 billion in 2019 to an estimated $60 billion in 2022, the economic disparity is far from resolved. A key contributor to this effect is Africa's dependency on commodity exports, subjecting the continent to the whims of global market volatility. But the narrative isn't one-dimensional. Africa is witnessing a surge in competitiveness across manufacturing sectors, partly fueling the narrowing of the trade deficit. Concurrently, BRICS nations have ramped up investment activities in Africa, further boosting economic indices and employment metrics. Tectonic shifts and strategic pathways. The relationship is fraught with challenges but is interspersed with equally compelling opportunities. The perennial issue of trade deficit and commodity dependence persists, exacerbated by infrastructural bottlenecks and capacity building requirements in Africa. Yet, the silver lining emerges in the form of expanding BRICS markets, increase in foreign direct investment (FDI), technology transfer opportunities, and synergistic South-South cooperation on sustainability and climate change initiatives. The landscape is as complex as it is fraught with potential. It encapsulates not just the tactical aspects of international trade, but also the long-term strategic visions that Africa must articulate and actionize. This goes beyond mere trade numbers. It is a defining litmus test for how Africa positions itself in the evolving geopolitical jigsaw. As the tectonic plates on global power continue to shift, the crucial task ahead for Africa is not just to be a participant, but to be a strategist and equitable partner in this convoluted yet promising dance of economic diplomacy. The opportunities are not just incremental but transformative if navigated judiciously. Therefore, the quintessential takeaway transcends the statistics. Africa must not merely adapt to the BRICS paradigm but shape it, turning historical asymmetries into avenues for sustainable mutual growth.